Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another round of checking out some of the Headrush effect blocks and specifically how I make use of them in the studio and live with Joe Mansman and the Midnight Revival Band. We'll be checking out a couple of different scenarios and contexts, so just stay tuned and watch the whole thing. Thanks, guys. Alright, so let's check out some Flanger, but just really quickly, let me show you what I've going on here. Just the Leon Todd TV Mix 2 Impulse Response, which you can download for free from any of the links in the description of his videos. Check out that entire channel. It's so good. But basically just run in a clean crunch and drive rig with the SLO 100, and I've got it boosted with a tube screamer currently in drive. This is kind of what I would use in Joe Mansman and the Midnight Revival Band. But so it sounds on its own. Alright, you get that? And then, so let's check out some Flanger. Just a few scenarios how I do make use of Flanger. So the first one is kind of for just a basic like texture over like chord hangs and rhythm. And you don't have to do a whole lot of work to even get that. If you just pick the Flanger, I don't really like the air Flanger. I prefer just the Flanger and the Headrush. Mostly because you have a pre-delay parameter, which you do not have in the air Flanger, which is kind of like just an Avid plugin. Whereas this Flanger is loosely based on the TC Electronic Thunderstorm. But anyway, yeah, so the Headrush already gives you a pretty good preset just with that default mono right out of the box, and it sounds like this. Right, it's there, it's present. It's not doing anything too crazy wonky. When I think Flanger, this is kind of what I already think of. I don't have to do a whole lot of work to this tone. So you have the depth control, which is basically your mix. I do like to bring that down to 50% just to get a little bit more of the dry signal in there. The rate at 0.35 is already a really good setting for like high gain rhythm work. The feedback at 50% is fine. That's kind of just affects like the swirliness of the sound, how the layers of flanging kind of overlap each other. 50% is pretty good. I don't change from that. We'll get into the pre-delay when we try some clean stuff and some lead stuff. And stereo degree, I don't really know all the technical aspects of what it does, but basically stereo degree kind of it shifts the waveform traveling in and out of the pedal. You can kind of rotate it from 0 to 360 degrees. 360 degrees would basically sound the same as 0 degrees. And I don't change this because I think the more you change it, the more it just kind of muddies things up. To me, it's not a very useful parameter. But anyway, so you've heard that. Let's just hear one more thing with those settings and the depth now at 50%. So you can hear just with the depth down to 50%, we've already got some more pick attack and clarity and kind of like aggressiveness back to the sound. Just from having our transient in there a little tiny bit more. So the next part I'll show you real quick is kind of like a novelty thing that I do. This is kind of in the realm of novelty just because I don't I use it for kind of one specific thing, but a user or a viewer had asked me about this after hearing our performance with Warrant, what I was doing in one of our songs, Wild Woman, which I've pre-recorded here. Hopefully the mix is going to be fine so that you can hear it. But basically, right, so you've got Wild Woman, starts off with this riff kind of... Yeah, let me turn this flanger off. Alright, so our other guitar player, Dylan, does that in the intro, while I do something kind of weird with flanger and a tremolo. And just, I won't get into tremolo really on this video, but basically, these are my tremolo settings. If you feel the desire to copy any of this. The combination of the flanger and the tremolo gives you this. Alright, so just a cool little kind of novelty thing to do over it. Let me see if I can get this sounding right while playing a loop of Wild Woman, the intro, and the effect. Alright, and then we go into the song. He does, you know, whatever, just check out the song. But so that's just one of my few tricks for flanger. I don't have a ton for flanger. I don't really use it for clean stuff, but I do have some kind of like a suggested setting for clean stuff if you're gonna do that. So let's try the effect we've already dialed in. Right, so I don't like how much on the pick, how the note kind of ducks underneath. So the way we can combat that is go to the pre-delay, and I would add in maybe like 3 milliseconds. I wouldn't go crazy with it. It sounds weird on flanger. It's not quite how it is on other effects. And then let's check that out. We might change the rate, but anyway. So much better with just those 3 milliseconds of pre-delay in there for a clean tone, right? I don't really have a use for that kind of sound, but just to show you how important pre-delay can be if you're going to use flanger clean. But what if we bring that rate down, kind of how I did with the multi-chorus, to 0.1, and let's see how that changes. It takes a little more of a back seat that way, becomes more textural. That's pretty cool. I would do like chord hangs of that underneath a song for something. Yeah, why not? It's cool little shimmer underneath. Which brings me to my next thing while we're at these settings. So with this rate and the pre-delay on, and pretty much these set like the feedback and depth all the same too. This is what I would go to if I was using this for a lead tone, for which we are gonna turn on. We've got the tube screamer, a little bit of delay. The graphic EQ is kind of just boosting volume. But this is how I would use Flanger with a lead tone. It kind of almost creates like a fake, like always on wah. But that sounds like this. So if you must flange while shredding, that is just one of my recommended settings. I don't really use flanger in any of my lead work, in this band in particular, but so that is about it. See, we've covered, so it's basic rhythm tone, some clean stuff, and lead tones, and I gave you that one little like novelty effect that I use. So hopefully you get some use out of this if you are completely unfamiliar with Flanger. And that's all I've got for you.